Hi, welcome. I'm really glad to be here, very excited to share a little bit of my experience with this new suite of products to start developing your content to Silverlight. So I believe everybody was at the keynote and saw all the excitement that we're having around Silverlight. And I hope I can show you how our tools are ready for you to start creating content for Silverlight. Before I start the presentation, I have just an announcement to do. We had a session before called Building Rich Web Experiences Using Silverlight and JavaScript for Developers. The organization noticed that the room was overflowed, so we have a repetition of that session right in this room just after this session. So if you were not able to attend that session, please just stick around. We have a rerun of that presentation just after this one. And now I want to talk to you about Silverlight and expression tools. So I'm Celso Gomes. I work for the expression group. So we're developing those products that you saw this morning. And just to have an idea, how many designers we have here today? Oh, cool. And how many developers? Very welcome. And how many in business? Cool. We have a very good balance between the targets. So I hope I can show a little bit for each one of you. And right now we have kind of a blend, and I'm not using this word by accident. We have a blend of people from being designers, being developers. So it's really great that people from different areas have interest in other areas too. So the goal for this session is to show that Expression Studio is ready, not only ready for the market, it's probably in your bag right now, but it's also ready for Silverlight. So we have a few products that we remodel to deliver the content for Silverlight, not only for WPF. Just to have an idea, how many people here work with WPF? That's a pretty good number. And how many people here developed anything with the old WPFE or Silverlight? Just a few people. OK, so this is the first session after the keynote where you saw all those beautiful demos and samples. So I will try to go slow so you can follow from the beginning how you can start developing and designing, of course, Silverlight applications. Oh, it's here. And another message that I hope you bring from this session, even if you drink a lot in Vegas, which it's not really that difficult, but if you forget even the name of your mother, you're going to remember two things from this session. So the first one is that the expression tools are ready and ready for Silverlight, and the other one is the new workflow. Scott this morning just mentioned the workflow, and I want to show that to you again, so you can understand, because it's a really great change in the workflow between developers and designers. So the new session is the workflow. So the workflow that we are looking for is between designers and developers, not against each other, but to work, to collaborate with each other. And of course, that workflow is only possible because the new tools that are out there. When I started working with Silverlight, I had to create stuff with Notepad and Visual Studio. So it was not the perfect workflow. And right now, the tools are ready, and I can tell how much better it is and faster to create content for Silverlight. And I hope I can show you a bunch of examples how we can use those tools to accomplish that. So let me show you just a few samples. You saw just amazing samples in the keynote, but I will show some stuff that later I will open in Expression Design, Expression Blend. And actually, let me just go back here. I will focus this presentation. I will show a little bit about web, but that's the most known application that you have out there. So I will show more Blend, Design, and Media Encoder. That's the three softwares that I will focus. So let's show a few samples that I will later open in Blend, Design, and Media. So this is a very, very simple application, but I want to show you the code behind later so you can see how this is done. So you have interaction with a mouse enter here. You can choose your color, and you have interaction paint bucket. So you can click here. I have a blue color now. I can click, start selecting colors. So paint some stars with yellow. Oh, I missed this one. And we can keep going, changing colors. Oops, this one here. And we also can change the image behind. So those are just vector graphics. I can click here, start changing the color of the pants. Maybe change this. We got all red. And the background. So later I will open this in Blend and in Visual Studio so you can see how you can start building this. Another one is the player that you saw at the keynote. Okay. So this is a template that I got from Media Encoder, and then restyled using Blend, and the assets came from Expression Design. So I'll also open this and show how it was done. And this one, it's new, you didn't see in during the keynote, but it's basically recreation of the video wall. We have 12 videos running at the same time with audio. So if I click here, I can just see zoom. So in this case, I use a bunch of JavaScript behind, but the main layout is using Blend. Then I'll also show the code so you can see how you can do something similar. And of course, you can imagine that you can change video for photos, text, anything you want. And of course, we have more media players. This is one of our partners. There's a trailer from the video, from this movie. The controls work. And again, this was something, we can go full screen. This is a high definition video. And all this new style I was doing using Blend. So let's see how we can start doing something like this. So let me just jump here and see if I forgot anything else. Okay, so of course all those samples were built using those products that I just mentioned. And let me, before jumping to the samples itself, let me talk a little bit about this new workflow that everybody's talking about. You probably heard that before with WPF, that we have a new workflow between developers and designers. But what we are trying to do, it's not make them fight among each other, but actually work with collaboration. So to understand that new universe that we can work on, this is just a metaphor. Imagine that the designer has this egg as his or her design. So in this egg, there's all the business goals, the marketing objectives. It's all very well planned before. And to accomplish that design, the designer creates all the specs, the comps to show exactly how the final render has to be. And sometimes if you go to HTML and CSS to do a proof of concept or even deliver the final result. The problem is production, as you saw this morning. We have the production itself has to destroy the design in order to rebuild. And that's because right now, designers work with a different kind of file format. Designers work with PSD, Adobe Illustrator, or other Flash maybe. And developers, they have to deliver HTML, Ajax, CSS. So there's no way to make the first design go to the final delivery without destruction. And of course, the final result, as you saw this morning, is not exactly how the designer wanted. So what we can do with the new model, what that helps us. First thing is that the designer works with the same file that it's delivered. So we have XAML as our deployment file. How many people here heard about XAML before? Great. So you know what I'm talking about. It's just a markup language that you can deploy for WPF or Silverlight now. And of course, we don't have to break anything because the XAML that we work with those tools are the same XAML that we deliver to the internet. And on the developer side, we have still the designer work with XAML, but the developer can work with JavaScript or .NET. So again, we don't have to break the XAML to deliver the final application. So that's the new workflow. And now let's show that working, not just in theory. So let's see how you can, right now, if you download Expression Blend, how you can start your new project in Silverlight. So I have here the new version that it's available for download today, the Blend 2. So I'll open, you can see that it's a May preview. Great. I'm still using the trial. I have to change that. So how you can just start a project, going to File, New Project, and how many people here used Blend before for WPF? Okay, just a few. So if you notice, now we have two more new members in the family here. You can still create your WPF control library, but you can also create Silverlight applications in JavaScript or Silverlight applications in managed code or .NET framework. In this, I'm not going to show .NET today. I'm just going to concentrate in JavaScript. So I will open a new project in JavaScript. I'll call this first app. There's two pieces. Oh, I already have the project. So let's put second project. Second app. Oops. Second app. Okay. And okay, what Blend did for us now? Let's see. If you use Visual Studio, you will notice that the file structure is the same that the Visual Studio. So you have your project. Inside you have references. In this case, I don't have any. And Blend create for us the HTML, the JavaScript behind that HTML. So we're trying to mirror the WPF application where you have C# or Visual Basic behind. So, but in this case, it's JavaScript. So for the HTML, you have a JavaScript behind. And for the scene itself, the XAML that we're delivering, also has a JavaScript behind. And also, we have the Silverlight JS. You don't have to worry about that. That's something that Microsoft provides for you. So you can embed the XAML file in your project. So we're not going to touch that file. And just to show now, the integration between designers and developers, the first thing that we noticed is that if you right-click here in the project, you can go and edit that same project in Visual Studio. I'm using Orcas, the new beta Orcas, so I have to just convert to my new format. Okay. And here you go. If you notice on the right side, we have the same structure of files. And I'm going to show each one by one, so you can see that there is nothing difficult. Okay, let's just go to source. So what Blend did for us, he created a JavaScript. So connect all the JavaScript we have. The first one is the Silverlight JS, which just connects your object, Silverlight object, so we don't have to worry about that. But also we have two other ones, the default HTML JS and the scene XAML JS. And right here, we just have a definition for a div layer, and we can create a Silverlight object. So before going further, let me see if it really works, right? So let me change a few properties so we can see that this is the real, the same one that I'm using there. I will create just a rectangle. And right now, if you never use Blend before, I'm showing some of the drawing tools that we have available. For example, you can draw a rectangle, change the roundness of the corner. We can apply some colors here. For example, gradient, maybe green. Reusing the color and change to dark. And we have a really cool feature here is that the brush transform, so you can interactive just change this arrow, and you have your new position of the gradient. And I would do the famous glass button or infamous glass button because everybody's using that. But for the demo, it's really easy to create. So copy and paste, just change the gradient to white and white, change alpha. Oops, it's the other way around. So I can just put this here. Okay, just change this. Okay, a very simple button just to show that it's the same project that we are using. Maybe make it a little small and reposition. Okay, so we have this button here, and if I press F5, it will open the browser and show that the same project. So let's go back to the code itself. What we have then, it's a HTML with 2 new JavaScripts. And right here, we call this function create Silverlight. This function is inside of default HTML JS. So this is the HTML, and we have some code behind, which is this JavaScript. So we can find the create Silverlight over there. And right here, you can change, for example, your attributes. You can define which XAML are you loading, what's the name of the div layer that you're applying, the XAML object, the Silverlight object, and some ID that you really don't need to use right now, and properties, so you can define width, height, background color, transparency, everything you want. And right here on this function, you can notice that we have an event function that it's created automatically for us on load that hooks up a scene.handleLoad. If you look in this file, you're not going to find this function because it's in the scene itself. So when the scene XAML is loaded, it will call the onload function inside of scene. So I can open the scene JavaScript here, and we can find our handle loaded. And right here, we have also a mouse handle event that I'm going to use in a few minutes to show how we can use those presets to start create something custom for us. So if you have questions along the way, please stop, and we'll try to answer as fast as I can. But if you're close to the microphone, please just stand up and do your question there. But let's see here. Okay. So when we create a new Silverlight application, we have this new project with HTML, JavaScript, and XAML, everything ready for us. But we don't have assets. So now I can start using other products. So what we saw so far, we start a very simple project just to show what are the elements that we have inside of Silverlight project. Then now I'm going to use design to create the assets to my Blend project. So I can start design here. Just a few seconds. Oh, sorry. Yeah, forgot this one. Okay, so there's design. How many people here used design before? Okay, a few. We have a few cool features in design. For example, if I start a new project, we have brushes, so I can paint something and find a bunch of different brushes that we can apply, and you can create your own brush actually. But right now I have already one of my designs ready. So we have this cute little bird, and I'm going to just export as a XAML file. So the object, as we saw before with the relationship between developers and designers, we will work with XAML. So design, of course, exports to XAML. And to do that, I just go here to File, Export, and yeah, we'll leave here. I have this bird already. I'll just replace. And you can see that you have a rich preview already. And the only thing you have to remember to export to Silverlight is to check this option here. Because if you check Canvas, it's going to export to WPF. Then we don't have 100% compatibility with WPF yet. So you have to remember just to click in Silverlight. I will export this. Okay, it's there. Don't need anymore. So let's delete this ugly button here. And I can add a new existing item, actually. It's right here, my bird. As I add my object, I have a new XAML in my project. If I double click, I can see the same bird that we have before. And one thing that you could, oh, I just forgot to tell you this, but you have to see that the structure that we have for layers, it's actually the same in design and in Blend, which makes it easier to find your assets. So you can see that you have sky with a bunch of paths, and you have a bird with body and all the elements here. So if I go here, we still have the sky and the bird, body, everything is the same. So it's very easy to find. Blend doesn't change the names. So now, let's create an animation with this. Just make something simple. And tomorrow, we'll have this kind of the same example with the WPF, but you can see how we can do that in WPF. Right now, I'll show you in Silverlight. It's quite a little bit different. So to create an animation, I can just click here, create a new timeline. And notice that we have two kinds of animations in Silverlight. You can have just the normal one, which is going to be part of the canvas itself, or we have the resources now. So I'll show you both so you can see the difference. The first one is just the canvas animation. I will call fly. And when you do that, you can notice on the left that we have the timeline now. And in Blend, we have two views. We have the design view and the animation view, which is easier to control the timeline. So I'll just do a simple animation of the body of this bird going from right to left. Okay. And we can go to the first frame, create a keyframe, clicking here. So each little ball here, or egg, it's one of the keyframes. And I can control acceleration, deceleration of the animation. So to go out, I want 100%, and to get in, I want 100%. And we can also play a preview of the animation. Cool. So if I press F5, it will run the browser and show my animation, or not. Okay. I just forgot to copy this to my real scene, because I'm still in bird WPF XAML. That's not the right one. It's this one. So now it's on the right scene. I will just change the background. Here, 800 by 600. Okay. And let me just do the animation again. Just fly and go to 1 second and open bird, body. Then we can just move this guy over there. Create a new frame in the beginning and control the speed. Okay, 100%. Now, yeah, we press F5 and we have our bird over there. And you notice that if I run again, the window is not the right size because it's controlled by this JavaScript. So I have to go back here. And you can see that I changed the project in Blend, and Visual Studio is telling me that the project changed. So I can just reload the project and go to my default. So here I can control, where is that? Oops. Here we can control my size of my object, because I have a style here that has just 600. I want actually 800 with width. Oops. Okay, 800. Okay. So if I go back now and play, we'll see that the window is on the right size. So if you're getting weird sizes in your window, remember that there's a JavaScript and also the styles that you can apply to your page. So it's not only a matter of changing the canvas inside of Blend itself. So one thing that you can notice with this animation is that when I create it, it plays automatically. So I didn't have to do anything to play the animation. Now, the other animation that we have as resources, so I will erase this animation. We just have default. Now, let's create an animation as a resource. So I'll create the same one, fly, check create as resource. And again, I have the timeline, so I can create my little bird again. So let's get this guy here, body, move it there. Let's add maybe a rotation, okay, to make it different. Okay, so we can go there, create another one, and we can still preview here. And the difference is that if I run the application now, it's not going to play by default. It stays still. Why is that? Because when you create animation, it says to you, creating a storyboard as a resource is a Silverlight-based project means that you must be controlling from code. So to trigger that animation, we have to go to code. So let me show just a little bit of JavaScript. Put here. So we're still using that same basic project that Blend created for us. So remember that we have behind we have the default HTML JavaScript, and then it loads the scene. So in the scene, we have another code that Blend creates for us that hooks up a handle, a mouse event handle. In this case, it's a mouse left button. So if you want to start using this code to create buttons or other interactions, you can just copy and paste and create mouse left button up, mouse enter, mouse leave, and I'll show you later more interaction like that. But what this code basically does is just hooks up this event with the handle mouse down, which is right here. And we can use the code that it's already there. So I can just delete this and find the way we find an element inside of Silverlight. It's using this code, the control itself, which is defined right here when we start the object. And we just add .content, .find name, and the name of my timeline. In this case, is fly. Now I can go back, run again, and nothing happens. But if I click, we have the animation running. So this is basically what you need to create like 90% of your interaction. You just need to add mouse up, mouse down, mouse enter, mouse leave, and you have your application running. So it's very, very easily, and you can start using those codes that come with Blend itself. Okay. So let me just jump here. So we saw how to start a simple object. With that same project, I was able to export assets from Expression Design and then open that same XAML in Blend and create a simple animation. Both simple animations. One as a canvas itself, so you have the animation playing without any code, and another one as a resource where you can control using JavaScript. So let's go to another very, very exciting integration between projects, which is Media Encoder and Blend. I have Media Encoder here. As you saw during the keynote this morning, we can create templates inside of Media Encoder, then exporting to Expression Blend, and then reusing that template as a template itself inside of Media Encoder. So let me go through the steps to do that, so you can download and do yourself. So sorry? Ooh, switch again. Sorry. I need an assistant just to switch stuff here. I always forget. So we have here with Media Encoder. I just open Media Encoder, and I can import a video. In this case, it's a .mv file. Open it here. OK. And inside of Media Encoder, we have a few features that we can start using. For example, in settings, we can crop the video. So HNGs, I don't want to keep the aspect ratio. And you notice the red lines, we can just, OK, so I can crop this, over there, over here, oh, OK, maybe here, oops, and my mouse is, OK, let's just crop like this. And then we can choose the template itself. So you have a bunch of templates that you can use. I will choose Classic, and that's all you need to do to encode your template. So if you look down here in the status bar, what Media Encoder is doing is creating our HTML, JavaScript, and all the XAML that we need to run a video player. So in 4, 3, 2, 1, Media Encoder will open the browser and show the template that we chose. I didn't define chapters, but you can, of course, have chapters here, and you can, everything is working. You can play, pause, everything there. So now let's get exactly that same template. So I go File, Open Project, and my new version, it's right here in my desktop. It's a Keynote. And this is the time. So Media Encoder uses this code so you can find your project. In this case, it's this, 334. I can open the project, and I will see exactly the same one that I was using before. And the cool thing is that we can go with Blend, go inside of the elements, and start changing colors, for example. And you notice that the only thing you have to do to create your templates is just keep the names of objects. So you can start in Blend or you can start in Design, but only thing you have to do is keep the names. So for example, in this case we have a play pause button, just hiding review so you can see the object itself. You have a pause symbol that it's not visible right now, but I can make it visible here. And the play symbol. So when you keep those names, you can change it to any shape or a combination, groups of shapes that you want. In this case, let's just change a few colors here. Let's do to green, and the background a dark green. Maybe this one too. Just, oops, sorry again. Okay. Oops. I pressed something wrong here. Okay. Okay. So one button is okay. Let me press F5 again. I don't want to go through bugs and stuff like that. But okay, so here we go. We have the same, exactly the same project that we have from Media Encoder. You can see on the left side, you have your button with the new background. And now you can go crazy like we did with the mix stuff. Where is that, my project here? Let me open here again, MIX07. This is my Silverlight applications. So this workflow shows how we can really isolate the graphics from the code behind. So we can, in this case, I was using exactly the same template that I show you, but I just exported some new graphics from Expression Design, and I was able to change completely different to another project. And let's just take a look at the, let me show you here, at the files that Media Encoder created. So remember when we saw the basic project that Blend created for us? We had HTML, we had some JavaScript behind, and the XAML itself. So we have the same thing here, but it's slightly different. And maybe in the future, we will have something that it's integrated. But right now, you have to be aware that there's some differences here. So for example, we have HTML and ASPX in case you're delivering something in .NET. And also, you have this MI player, which is like the base class of your application, of your player. So it's all the stuff that you need to play, control volume, progress bar, all that stuff. So we don't touch that file because it's like a class itself. So for developers, just so you know. And some other files that Media Encoder creates for us. The important, of course, the Silverlight to embed the object. But two objects are interesting for us here. The start player JavaScript and the player JavaScript itself. So again, the integration with Visual Studio is easy. I just have to convert this to Orcas, okay? And we see the same project there. But if you open Start Player, actually let's start with the HTML itself. It's here, okay. So just like the basic project that we started, we have Silverlight. Now we have some new JavaScript. So we have Microsoft Ajax, a preview, and the base class for your player. But we also have two new files here that are important for us, player and start player. So start player is important just for this first opening. So I will open start player JavaScript. And here is the definition of the name of your video. Chapters in case you encode thumbnails or chapters to the video itself. And you also remember the first project that we opened, we have some new object where you can define the name of the XAML file and the properties. So it's the same thing, it's slightly different, but if you open the project, you'll be able to identify that piece of code. So, and the most important here is the player.js. If I open this code, I'm not going through all the code behind, but this is the JavaScript that you use in case you want to extend your player. For example, if you want more animations, if you want a different behavior, you can use that JavaScript like this here, which extends with new animations like show animation, hide animation for buttons and panels and stuff like that. So we don't have time to go through the code itself because this is more for a designer audience, but just be aware that you can work together with developer behind working with this code with the player JavaScript. Okay. Close this one here. And so, in this project, the first one, we were able to start the basic project. We export the XAML from design, create a simple, open that XAML in Blend, create a simple animation. Now we were able to open a media encoder, create a new template, then go to Blend and restyle that template just like you do with any other project in XAML. So now if you want to extend that base class that I just showed you, of course you can come here and start Web Designer. Put here. And I can open my, oops, sorry. Thank you. Switch here. We can open Designer here. And I can open the site. And let me just find where is my new one here. We just opened Keynote, right? Step 1. And it was this 334. And I can open. I can see everything. If you prefer Web Designer, it's fine. Or developers really sometimes prefer Visual Studio. But either way, you can go here and edit the player JavaScript. So, any questions so far? Do you want to use the time? Okay?
What I do for a live stream inside the player?
Well, live stream is automatic. I'm not going to show you here, but it's just out of the box with Silverlight. So you can hook up just your URL. In media. Yeah, that's a good question. For example, if you don't want to use media encoder or that stuff, let's show you how you can encode a new project with video. So let's start a new project here. That's something I would like to show you too. So I will use that question to show that. Just change the background. I like this black background. And some other features in Blend that you can use, of course, some drawing tools like path. We saw that we can use gradients and change gradients with this brush tool. So we can just linear or even this here. And you can also apply opacity mask, so I can create a gradient with opacity mask. Here you go. I can change the background so you can see better what I'm Okay, so you have an opacity inside of with the rectangle, but I mean, just delete this. Another feature that we have also is text block. You can draw texts here, change the color. Okay, and another feature is the media element. So I can open my asset library and just type media, and the media element comes here. You can drag and drop, and this is the surface of my video. Now, I don't have streaming video here, but I will just show you with a normal video, local video. So I can just add existing item, and there's this robot that I already have ready. And if you go to properties, you can see the media here. And if you can't find one property, you can just go to search and type media element or source, and it comes right to you. And right here, I just choose robot and can press F5. And my project's there with the video running. So it's very, very simple. In this case, you just change the URL, and you're good to go. And you don't have to use the video just like that. You can actually change the properties here. So, for example, let me just show all the properties. We can use some opacity mask, so I can hide parts of my video using, again, this transformation brush transform here. Let's change the background so you can see better. So we have the transparency with the video. There you go. Just like any other object inside of Blend. And we can also apply transformations. So we can go here. Oh, you can also apply cursors, for example. You can go here, change it to hand. And if I run, when you roll over, you have the arrow, and you roll over, you have that nice hand to indicate a hotspot. So you can click. And you can also apply transformations. So, for example, we can make this maybe scale on X. So videos in Silverlight are very flexible. It's very easy to manipulate. Can you have audio for the microphone, please, in the center? Try again. No? You can actually streaming video, but you also can use progressive download. So I don't have any example here, but if we open any of the projects that use the template that we had before, for example, this one. One of the, I'm not sure if I can find right now, but one of the elements that we have here is a progress download. So you can actually see a progress bar and control the download.
Okay.
And of course, you can extend that later if you want any different.
Okay. And the Silverlight service, hosted service that you guys showed at the keynote, is that just progressive?
No, that's really streaming. That's really streaming.
Okay.
Just one more over there.
Hi.
Oh, now we have Mike. Okay.
What kind of text handling control do you have? Can you embed different fonts, or can you show a little bit with text?
Okay, text. Just about text, let me open here. We have two kinds of text. Start a new project. So the first one is the text block itself. So the text block doesn't use any, where is that? Okay. Doesn't use any embed fonts. You have to use the system fonts. But you have another one that it's glyphs. It's the same one that WPF. So you can copy your font and to your server and use that. I'm not sure how the Silverlight is going with embedding fonts in the zip file that ships with your project. So it's better to ask that question for the team for the next sessions that are more technical, so you can get that answer. Is that okay? Yeah. Where's he? Okay.
I have a question. I noticed you had a JavaScript event handler, and I'm wondering if we have to worry about differences in event handling in different browsers, or do you handle that in the back end?
No, it's all the browsers work the same. Don't worry. We have all the projects. I just have a PC right now and running IE because it's my machine, but all the event handlers work the same for Safari, Firefox, and IE, of course. Okay, so we see how you can change the video. It's very easy in all the objects that you have. Let me just see how we are here. So you can extend those functions using web, as we showed. And now let me show you not only video, but you also can use applications. So let me show you that painter application. I will open in Blend. So over here. Switch. Okay. It's this one here. Here you go. So we have, inside of my mix, Silverlight, I have the application, which is the painter itself. Let's open the solution. Now, so you can see that you have the same render that what we saw in the HTML itself. And let's take a look at the project so we can see what we're using. I have the same files that we opened the base application. I have my HTML, the JavaScript behind, my scene, and some JavaScript behind that scene. So if I open this in Visual Studio so we can analyze all the pieces of this project, here you go. So let me just close it here so you can see the beginning. Source, remove start page, okay. So the HTML starts just like the other one, the simple application. We have the Silverlight that embeds the object itself. We have the default, the scene, and now I can start doing my own application with my JavaScript behind. So I have drop that controls the colors of the drop colors, those colors over here. I have path, which controls the path inside of the vector when I click one of the paths. And I have navigation to control those arrows over here. And just other script behind just to hook up some events that you don't really need now. But let me just show you what I extended, really. So when you start the project here, the HTML, it calls this function, loaded scene, which is another option that you have to hook up your events. If I open my scene XAML, you can also call a JavaScript function from inside of XAML. So I don't think you saw this before. So let me just show you. Let's switch this. I just want my code. Okay. So when we open a canvas, a XAML file, you have an option to add events right here. So you can say that on loaded, you call a JavaScript called loaded scene. So it's another option from calling JavaScript inside of XAML itself. And also I have another event here, mouse move, that will handle the paint bucket to move around with your mouse. So let's close here. So after the XAML is loaded, we can find the objects inside of XAML itself. So I have my paint color. Paint color is just inside of the paint bucket, so I will just zoom in. And this application will be available on our Remix site, so you can go there and download yourself and see how the code works. But we have the paint color right here, so I change the color when I select a new one. And also, I have the bucket itself. I just create a reference to the bucket, which is the whole thing, so I just hide and revealing my object. Here you go. And also just a reference to the main scene that I need later. But then I can customize and start doing my own code in JavaScript. So here I have a try and catch that allows me to create new colors. So if I can just add new colors on the fly, I can come here, open my colors, and you can see that I have colors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12. And I can just come here and copy and paste. And this is my new color. If I move here, so you can see a new color here. And I can change inside. Let's just change to design mode. Okay, so you can see the element tree better. I will expand this and select my color and change. Let's change to another color. Here, let's put a dark, very dark green. So if I run this, the JavaScript will try to catch my, oops, I think I forgot to name this correctly. Yeah. I just have to name this to drop 13, and the color 13 is there already. So if I run this, I have a new color, and I can just click here and start painting with that new color. You see, I don't have animations though. I can, because the animations are created inside of Blend, I have enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13. So I don't have animation for this new color, but the function itself is there already because of the way that the JavaScript is built. So what I'm doing here is just creating a new object, drop, which is inside of that new JavaScript. So let me open the drop JavaScript. It's here. And now notice this is a more complete experience with handles. So you can see that we have the control itself, some ID for my object, which I'm passing. So this is a little more for developers, but it's simple if you just open and see how it works. I'm sending the control itself and the ID, which is just a number, my ID number from 1 to 13. And if I open the drop, I can see that I have a reference. Again, I'm using that find name to find one of the objects inside of my Silverlight object. It's the drop number and color number, which is just those, drop number and color number. And right here, I'm using the event handlers to all the 4 interactions that we have with the mouse, with mouse enter, mouse leave, mouse left button down and up, and each one has its own control here. So for example, when we have handle mouse enter, I just get the reference of my animation, just like we did with the bird in the beginning. I have an animation built as a resource, so I can access. I have a reference of the animation here, and when I have a mouse enter, I just begin my storyboard or my animation. And when I have a mouse leave, I just stop that storyboard, and when the mouse is down, I stop another animation. So you see how we can just change the stuff. And one important code here is this one, where I get the color of my object, what I'm clicking. I get the hexadecimal value and just do some conversion. And then I apply it to my new paint color. So in this code here, I'm changing the color of this guy that we identified before. So that's what I do when I click on top of my drop. And another piece of this code is, where is that here, is the path. So the path, as you can see, uses the same structure. So I have the control, some ID, and I find a different target for this code. It's the shape ID. So the shapes are, let me just zoom out here. The shapes are, for example, this star here. All the vectors that I have, my group, rocket, here you go. Okay, so you can see shape 11, shape 8. So I just need to give based on this code, I just need to give the shape, the path, a name called shape number, and this code will find my object and make it available here. And so when I have a mouse button up event, I just change the fill color to my current color. And this current color was defined right here in our drop JavaScript. So you can see that now you can start playing and adding new JavaScript functions, just starting with that really simple basic applications that we had with Blend. So, okay. Let's just switch here. Any questions about JavaScript behind? Not yet. Okay, we'll have a few more time later, so if you want to ask. Now, let me show you that other project that we built. Okay, I can open that video wall 3D. Oops, sorry, I'm just open here. Here you go. So I'm just opening the right folder, and then I go to Photo 3D. Here you go. So as you can see, it's not exactly, and in Blend, if you press Tab key, you can just hide and reveal the controls. So I start this project in Blend, just setting up my environment. And then if we open the code behind, you see that it's exactly the same structure that I had with the other ones, the same approach. So we start again with the default HTML. Source here. So we have the Silverlight.js that embeds the Silverlight object. We have the two JavaScript for the HTML default and the scene itself. And now I have 3 more JavaScripts that I'm extending the simple project that we start in Blend. So we start the same way, create a new Silverlight object. And if I go to default, here you go, I have my scene XAML. I have my new attributes. I just defined the width and height. And here we have the scene itself. So when the scene loads, finishing loading, what I'm doing is just creating an array. This array has a new video. So this video, it's a new JavaScript. So I can go there in my environment here and find video.js. Here you go. Just like the buttons and the colors before, we just have a bunch of handles for mouse up, mouse enter, and you have new stuff like controlling the Z index of objects. So when we run this and we click, oops, it's there already. This one here. No, okay. When you run this, we can just click on the video and it expands. So those are the functions that I have inside. I have animations for that structure that I start here. When mouse is down, I start the enter animation. So as you can see, the structure to create that is the same for this video. So creating this video here, once I have all the controls ready for the video, I can start another JavaScript to create this photo sphere that I have. And I can just open so you can see how is the photo sphere. I just create with some attributes. Then I have an array with the 3D coordinates for my sphere. And then I can create a new environment. So you can see it's a progression of JavaScript that you can hook up and start doing something. We don't have time to go through all the code here, but so you can see that we can have layers, levels of complexity. In this case, we create even a 3D environment. If I open the environment 3D, we can see.
Is it a true 3D environment, like a 3D viewport, or are you just dealing with Z indexing so that there's stuff behind?
Z index and sizes, scale. It's not, no, Silverlight, just to be clear, Silverlight doesn't have real 3D, nothing of hardware acceleration. So this is the code for the fake 3D, where you have all the math behind, a bunch of trigonometry and matrix multiplication. So we don't want to touch that down. But so you can see how you can progressively change your JavaScript, adding more complexity. And if you're starting your Silverlight right now, the best way to do is starting with Blend, open your project, and change the JavaScript or change the design so you can adding more and more complexity as you go. So let me just switch here. Okay, so we just saw how the JavaScript is. So so far we covered all the projects all the tools that we were doing before. So we have Expression Web, Blend, Design, and Media Encoder. You saw that all of them you can export to XAML or manipulate XAML and work together with developers in JavaScript behind and designers with the with the visuals itself. So remember that first egg that we have, everything we showed here, we didn't have to reconstruct when we export and deploy the Silverlight project. And so that's, again, with those tools, we can improve that workflow. And you have, if you don't have those links yet, you can download all those softwares that I've been using here and at the keynote too. You can download in Microsoft.com/expression. And Silverlight 1.0, which is the Silverlight that works with JavaScript. You can download in Microsoft.com/Silverlight. And you can start download everything today. I just checked, it's all there. So we have time for Q&A, and later, please don't forget to fill the evaluation.
When you added the old mouse event, you did that in the code view in Visual Studio. Can you not add that in the Blade?
Not yet. We can't do that yet. So the question is how we add event handlers, and we do that in Visual Studio.
Okay. Is there any plans to put it in the Blade?
Yes, for sure. This is an early preview version, so we have the team here working to create the same experience that you have in WPF.
That's just a really quick tool question. On a transform tool, is it still a skew, or can you do free-form transformations where you can grab individual vertices? And
Just a skill for now. Yeah. $12 videos, yeah. Well, it depends on the bandwidth, so the bit rate. In this case, we had a bit rate, I believe, of 180 bytes per second. So if you add more bandwidth, you can't play that many videos, so you have to balance that. Not really. This machine, it's okay. It's not really. I don't have the numbers for you now, but performance is really good. Pure web like HTML?
Like, you know how Flash is created for Flash pages? You can do that with Connect too.
Well, yeah, you can if you change the structure, yeah.
Right. And how does that do anything good for search engines?
For what, sorry?
Search engines? Like, you can't read text off the search engines can't read text off the page. And navigate through it.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because it's all text. So,
But if you could read text, search engines can read text.
sorry, I didn't understand the question.
If a search engine code reads a WPF file, do we read text file?
Well, I'm not sure about that. It's better if you ask to the next sessions, where it's more technical about the Silverlight itself, but I can't give you an answer about that right now. Sorry.
We've got the alpha Silverlight 1.1 installed. Will that work with the version of expression blend that you're using?
Yeah, exactly the same one. So if you download the expression preview 2, expression blend 2 preview, and you use this version of Silverlight,
Silverlight 1.1,
1.1 will work too, but that's for developers to work with .NET behind.
I have two questions.
Thank you.
Is there a way to work with scripted animation, like move a certain element, a certain number of pixels in runtime from JavaScript? And the second question is there a way to attach graphics in runtimes, for instance, buttons?
Sorry, can you repeat the first one?
Is there a way to make scripted animation based on JavaScript?
Yes. The 3D surface that you saw, it's kind of a script animation. I don't have an end to begin to end, but it's all controlled by script.
All right.
And the second one?
Yeah, it was. Is there a way to attach graphics in runtime?
Yes, for sure. You have a feature in Silverlight that's called Create from XAML, where you can download your asset and create dynamically. That's a very useful tool. I just show examples using with the blend itself because the focus of this presentation was the tools itself. But you have, if you have a more developer environment where you need to create everything on the fly, you can do that. And you can control download for each one.
With Blend 2, can you take an element from design, make some changes, and then save it out, and so that you can import it back into design?
Yeah, you can. You can't use the same format for both. You can also save as XAML from design.
Design can't bring. Currently, design cannot take in a Blend image.
Not from Blend. You can copy and paste in some cases, but the idea is that you keep your original design file as a reference always. So if you need to change your project, you go to design and export again.
Okay.
For the expressions video encoder, does that replace the Microsoft media encoder?
Which one? The Movie Maker?
Windows media encoder.
No. Actually,
in other words, in what formats does it accept? Will it take
it's
like
the
raw
same
APIs and things like that?
VC1. It's the same that we have.
So it's the same as what we...
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're using a stream, a server stream of video, if you have a base, a database with all your videos, you can use the same ones. That's the same one that Silverlight loads. Okay. Yeah. Oh, cool. So we have, I don't know, did you distribute that in the keynote, during the keynote? Okay. We have some posters with the whole story of Silverlight. So if you want to grab here, it tells about .NET and all the experience that you can have.